Hello, hello, welcome everyone to another episode of Ninja Talks Fighting, episode 4. Now, normally I do these episodes once a month, but I did not get to do one last month, so I'll start one in July and maybe another one in the end of July. So, how's everybody doing? I already saw a few people already saying hi, but we're gonna go ahead and start this interview. The person I'm gonna be interviewing will be a person who I met when I was playing Dragon Ball Fighters. Normally, when I play people in Dragon Ball Fighters and they put like either a TTV or a YT in their name, I like to check out their channel and see what's up and everything. And so, without further ado, here is our guest, Mr. Awesome. Hey, Mr. Awesome.
Hey everybody, can you see me?
Yes, we could all see you.
Cool.
So, quick story about
What's
Mr.
going on, man?
Doing well. So, quick story about Mr. Awesome. So, again, like I said, I was playing a game, and I see Mr. Awesome has his Twitch name on when I was fighting, and so I watched this game. We were playing some matches, and one of the things that when you fight him and he's not winning, he'll start saying a lot of colorful languages during stream, and so I was like, should I follow this guy? Because I feel like he's gonna be so mad or pissed off at me when I follow him. So I did it, and I say, hey, good games, and here we are.
And I was really super nice. I just like to swear a lot.
He does.
Frustrated when I like whatever stuff I talk or whatever. I don't mean nothing by it, man. You beat me. You didn't. It's just shit talk. It's not that big of a deal. I don't mean nothing by it, man. We can all be friends.
Exactly. And so that's one of the things he always likes to say, like, F you, but good games. and that's his emote right
yeah,
there.
That's one of my emotes.
So, Mr. Awesome, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I mean, not a ton to tell about me. I'm originally from New York, not New York City, just the state of New York, Rochester, New York. And what was it? Man, one day I was just like, dude, I just got to get out of New York. And I went from New York to California. And I did it because actually there was a lot more. I got really into the fighting game scene like a year or two before I went. Like I really got into it. I really started getting better at Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And there wasn't like a huge thing out there where I was at. And of course, like 6 months before I left, I finally found like a good scene, but I already decided that like I'm going to California, because in California, when I got here, by the way, you could meet anyone at any time and just play Marvel, like in person, not like online. So that's one of the reasons I moved to California, was to start participating in tournaments and stuff like that. And then it was like 4 days in, I met my wife.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I met her at a Sharks game. And yeah, so that kind of went away. And then it was like a year after we got married. I mean, I never stopped playing fighting games. I love playing fighting games, but I never streamed it, And but that's pretty much why I came to California. That's pretty much me. I'm a guy who went from New York to California to play fighting games, and then met his wife, and now I stream them.
Oh, cool. So, that was actually going to be one of my questions I was going to ask about your story about fighting games. Do you have any earlier mentions of any earlier experience of fighting games? Maybe when you were a kid. It doesn't have to be like when you were a pro at it, but like when you got exposed to it.
I mean, I'm still no pro. I can say that right now. But I've been playing fighting games since I can remember. I mean, I think the first game, probably Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. I think was maybe the first one I ever played. And I really loved that. And Killer Instinct, that was a big one. I played that a ton when I was young. And then I just, every fighting game that came out, I played. Darkstalkers, oh my god, I can't even think now some of these games because the names are kind of weird. What was the one with Batasu or Batsu? Rival Schools.
Rival Schools.
Yeah, dude. And then that Rival Schools that came out on Dreamcast. Oh my god, it's so good. And yeah, I played a ton of fighting games, but my earliest one is probably Street Fighter 2. I don't think I played any fighting games on the Nintendo. But Super Nintendo, yeah, I played a few.
And so you started getting more serious in fighting game when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out?
Yeah, because when Marvel 2 came out, I went to a tournament and I got freaking. Am I allowed to swear?
Oh yeah, there's don't worry about it. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, dude, I got fucking wrecked. Like I thought I was good. I really did. It was my first like wake up moment. I was like, holy shit. This is when I was in college. So we went to this tournament at Monroe Community College, and I thought I was gonna do like really well. I got freaking wiped out. This guy was doing some Blackheart stuff I'd never seen before. This Magneto stuff I'd never seen before because I never picked up on any tournaments or anything like that. I've never gone. I just played like local friends and stuff like that, which
Mhm.
you know them I could beat, but these guys were like crazy. I actually saw Justin Wong there when he was like young Justin Wong with his Dreamcast green arcade stick, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I never played him, but he might have won that tournament.
Wow. I mean,
yeah.
I when I saw for Marvel
It
vs.
was at
Capcom
RIT,
2.
either RIT or MCC. One of the two. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so I was like saying with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, that was one of those games where it was unheard of to have a roster that size at the time. So
Yeah. No, absolutely. That was I think the first like 3v3 that I can remember that I like really enjoyed anyway.
mhm.
And then Marvel 3 came out, and then I wanted to get good at Marvel 3 because I hadn't been a Marvel in like what 10 years before that.
It was yep 10 years because you know that whole Marvel being very strict with their properties.
Yep. So I played the hell out of it, and I loved it. And I didn't play Zero because he was cheap. I played Zero because I love the Mega Man series. X4 is my favorite Mega Man, and I almost never played it with Mega Man. I always played it with Zero. Zero was my boy. So cheap or not, I was still gonna play him. I play characters that I like, not characters that are cheap.
Oh, cool.
But it was sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to comment on. That's the kind of player I am. I never care about like you know tier data about a character. It's more if I like him, I'll pick that character.
Yeah, dude. I mean, one of my first players besides Adult Gohan was Krillin in Dragon Ball Fighters. So, you know, Krillin wasn't good all the time. I mean, I'll still think he's like amazing, but he's definitely better than when the game first started, for sure. So, yeah, my team is Krillin, Roshi now because Roshi's just so cool. He got nerfed and stuff like that, but I still really like Roshi. It's Krillin, great. Roshi, and Trunks.
Nice. Also,
and my team on MVC3 was sorry to interrupt. My team on MVC3 was Zero, Doom, Amy, which I don't think you've ever seen a team like that.
Who was the third one you said?
Amaterasu.
Oh, okay. Cool. I think when I played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I've never seen any other person online pick the team I picked, but it was Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Tron. So I'm a Mega Man fan as well. Now everyone knew why I had Spider-Man and Deadpool, so they're like, "Oh shoot, he's gonna do that reset combo," which always works. Yeah. So with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I know with the roster so big, it was still kind of like you had to pick these set of players in order to be top tier, like in order to be well in the tournaments. I've never seen anyone play like other characters in that game that are not like you know Storm, Magneto, Sentinel, all those top tier characters. So
yeah, I when I went back, we did another tournament and I went back, I did better. And I changed my team. I did more of a zoning team. It was it Captain Commando, Iron Man, and Cable, I think it was.
Oh, I was thinking, yeah, Cable is one of those zoners.
Yeah, Cable, and he keeps you out too. He's a good assist.
Yeah. So changing quick subjects here. Where did Mr. Awesome come from?
Oh, the name Mr. Awesome? That's actually my wife. My wife's been calling me her Mr. Awesome for a really long time. So when I was thinking up a Twitch name, I just decided to use that. And I did it like because I like, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So I called it Mr. Awesome's Neighborhood. That's my stream. Mr. Awesome's _neighborhood.
That's awesome. That's cool. Awesome. So one of the things I think I asked you when you were streaming is, you know, if you play with a pad or stick, and then you said you play with a pad. And then I think you followed up with that saying, oh, I play with this claw grip style. And I was like very curious about that. So I don't know. Do you want to give the viewers a 101
Oh,
lesson
sure,
about
sure.
what the claw grip is?
I mean, they probably know if they play games, but yeah, not too many people do it. But I don't like doing this because it's a lot harder to hit the buttons, especially if you have to do multiple buttons. So I play like this, so I can reach. The only negative to it is that if you have a game where you have to access all four, it's really hard. But most games don't do that anymore. They mostly can let you use the shoulders, and then you can use these for manual inputs. So it's basically just how I started. I've been doing that ever since MVC2 on the Dreamcast. I've been playing like that. So it was just easier to get to the buttons and do your combos faster and stuff. To me, anyway, it was easier. That I've been playing like that forever.
Interesting. I feel like maybe if I played that style during the Sega Dreamcast days, I would have probably been more appreciative to Marvel versus Capcom in the Dreamcast, because when I play with a D-pad, you know how they have the 6 buttons, light, medium, heavy for punch and kick, and then they have those 2 extra shoulder buttons, which I would program to be the triple punch, triple kick. And so that's how I would get away from being able to press those double buttons at the time. And
Got it.
and the Sega Dreamcast only had one shoulder button, or well, 2 shoulder buttons, one on the left and one on the right. So I couldn't really program a button that does triple punch, triple kick. So it was hard
Yeah,
to
you
do
actually
that.
had to input it manually. Yeah, you
So-
had to. Yeah, I did have to do that, but you know.
So now, if I think about that clock grip style, I was like, oh, pretty interesting. Maybe I should have done that if I knew about that. So
I mean, I didn't really know it was a thing, to be honest. I just started doing it because it was easier for me, and then there are other players that do it. I don't really know any of them, but there's definitely other people I feel that do play the claw style.
I honestly, I don't think I've seen anyone except you play the claw style. So until I find someone else, it's gonna be you so far.
I'm a weird dude.
So I think you already told, like, what the benefits and disadvantages of it are. So another thing I wanted to ask you about is if anyone has actually seen Mr. Awesome's stream, he has always these unique overlays. Do you want to share about, like, why you did it, how you do it,
sure.
and everything about that?
So I actually do have a degree in graphic design, which I never really used because in New York there really weren't like a lot of jobs. And then when I started streaming, I was like, well, if I'm going to stream, people are going to watch. And by the way, when I first started streaming, I didn't think anything was going to happen of it. Like I really didn't think a lot of people would start watching and stuff like that. Just all of a sudden, people started talking to me, so I had to get like a camera and a mic. My first thing I did was actually invest in the Twitch stream because I didn't know a bunch of people were going to talk to me. But then I was like, dude, I want to really do this. Like I've seen other people surround with that and stuff like that. So I didn't have Photoshop or anything like that. I actually did with a free program called Paint.net. But if I was really going to do it, I don't usually half-ass anything I do. I usually try to put 100% into what I do if I'm going to do it. So I wanted to do these things that kind of made it unique. Every time you go to my stream, it would be different from anyone else's stream. So with this program called Paint.net, I made all these unique overlays. So if it's a game that like I really care about, like Dragon Ball FighterZ, I did like 3 different overlays for that game, like one for each year. But I feel it brings people to your channel more too. But I just want them to have a unique experience. When they're on my channel, it's nothing crazy. It's just every time if I really like a game, I wanted to do a cool overlay for it. Like me and my wife were playing Overcooked for a month or so on it, and we were having so much fun. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do an overlay for this. So I have an Overcooked overlay too that you've never seen, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh man, I gotta see that overlay.
Talking too much.
And then honestly, I've always been intrigued about that, because when I start seeing, like, the average streamer, everyone's like overlays and layout is like a cut and paste from a source. Maybe they bought it, maybe whatever, but looking at overlays like that it gets a little too repetitive for me. And so that's why I always find it fascinating when people actually take the time to make their own overlays. And that's why I give props to you for making your unique overlays for the games that you play.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a cut and paste myself. Like, I mean, I kind of outline certain things from like the game that I played or something like that. I mean, I if I really wanted to, I could draw it, but it would take like forever to do. My logo's custom. If you ever see my logo, that's completely custom. I didn't
Mm,
take that from anything. I drew that all myself.
cool.
But yeah, the Krillin thing, the hat and the thing, all that, yeah, I drew that all.
Mm. Oh yeah, that one's a really good picture of Krillin with the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's like all the things I love. It's like, One Piece, so he's got the Luffy hat. Marvel, Infinity War, so he's got the Thanos gauntlet, and he's got Cloud's outfit and his Cloud sword from Final Fantasy VII. So yeah, it's pretty sick. And of course, he looks like Krillin. He's dressed up in all these cool outfits.
Mm.
But
Okay, and another thing I want to start asking because you recently started doing this is, you change your layout in the camera when you stream because you want to start showing off your cool shirts that you've been
oh
showing.
yeah,
So
this
want to talk
again is
about that?
another tribute. Yeah, this is another awesome tribute to my wife, dude. She goes on these sites like Ripped Apparel and Shirt Punch and Grind Gaming, which is actually a partner of mine. And she finds these shirts and just all of a sudden she just buys them for me and she's like surprised. And I'm like, oh man. And I go on stream all the time with these shirts and like it's cut off to like here. And I'm like, dude, these are awesome shirts. People should see these shirts. And
Mm-hmm.
ever since then I get comments about it. I'm like, dude, nice shirt. Stuff like that. But yeah, definitely check out those sites, man. They put out new shirts like all the time. It's like a new shirt every day. It's crazy. And they do these crazy mashups. Like this one, I mean, this one looks like yeah, it's Spider-Man and Venom, right? But I mean, if you look at the mash, it kind of looks like a Marvel versus Capcom thing, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the way that they're side one way and side one way. I mean, it's pretty sick.
The homage to that Marvel vs. Capcom 1 poster.
So yeah, I changed my overlay so that it goes down more, so you can see my shirt more
Mhm.
because I just thought it was so cool.
So speaking of grinding, feel free to shout out of them. Like, how did you get partnered with them?
Well, that's another interesting thing. They actually just approached me on Instagram one day. They were like, "Oh, we like what you do. You post a lot of these stuff." They're like, if you want to wear our hat, and promote us, we'll give you an ambassador code so people can get 5% off. So I mean, now if you want to go to Grindex Gaming and check out their shirts, they got a lot of different apparel, not just shirts and all sorts of stuff. But if you use the code, it's like all uppercase, Mr. Awesome's 5, you get 5% off your order.
Oh, cool.
But that's basically how it went. They approached me. I was like looking for anything. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's cool. I like the logo. I mean, that's pretty much why I was like, okay, your logo's cool. Yeah, I'll take it.
That's cool. Was it
So
was
and
it
then I
during
incorporate.
a stream that they discovered you that say, hey, you want to represent us or?
No, so to get, I try to market myself like a little bit out there. I'm not like going crazy, but like I put like little clips out on YouTube, and of course I also do like big YouTube videos too. But I also did like little clips from the stream on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. And they saw one of them and they saw like how crazy I get because you know how nutty I get, and and they approached me. So
Okay, that's cool. That's really awesome. Again, Mr. Awesome is awesome.
yeah, and so I put their logo in my streams too. So their logo's on most of my streams.
Nice. So now we're gonna go a little bit back to the fighting game themes here.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you answered it, or maybe you could add on to it. Was there anyone that inspired you to be into fighting games, or was there just like just a moment in life that says, "Hey, I like fighting games."
Into fighting games. Anybody who got me into it? Not really. I think I've just been playing them for forever. Like since I was super young. I mean, me and a buddy used to play them all the time. Buddy I had, when I was growing up, when I moved to another part of New York, I met him, and I know we played like a lot of fighting games together. But I don't know if he got me into it or not. I think I was already into it. I think we were just both into it. But when I started playing like other people, that was kind of him because before I was just playing the computer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, I guess you could say my buddy Andrew
Oh, nice.
kind of got me into it a little bit more. But to get serious into it, I kind of just got myself into it. When it came to MVC3, I was just like, dude, I really want to get good at this. And then I started meeting other people though in New York, and they really got me into it, because if we go to their house like every Friday or something like that, and there'd be like a bunch of people there, and we'd play, and they get me into it more.
Oh, nice. So to get better in fighting games, what did you start doing to like get better at it? Because if you just get a game and play it all by yourself and never search anything online and just think like, oh, I'm gonna button mash, but I'm beating the AI, so I think I'm good. But then when you play face to face with another person, it's completely different. So I know it requires you to get better. And how do you think you got better at it?
I mean, well, the first thing you need to do is, I mean, all I was doing was like combos, trying to figure out the coolest combo and the way to kill the person the faster, right? But if you can't hit the person, who gives a shit if you can do all these combos if you can't hit them, right? So the first thing I had to do is kind of figure out why I was losing, um, and kind of adjust to that. And I also watched like a lot of YouTube videos and tournaments of things that people were doing, different movement. I mean, like, I don't know if they had an MBC2, because again, I didn't get crazy into MBC2, but MBC3 had that plank dash. So, I learned that, the quick movement, for back dashing and forward dashing really fast. You know what I'm talking about?
The wave dashing?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing I learned. In Dragon Ball Fighters, I learned that instant overhead. I never knew that motion existed. I played a lot of Guilty Gears, and I never knew that was a thing. I always just press jump and then over, and it would be really slow compared to like what it is in Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball Fighters, especially, which is like almost an instant, overhead dash. So I just learned little tactics, stuff like that. But everybody's different, and that's what's so fun though about fighting games, right? I mean, that's why it's like my passion. It's like my vice, dude. Fighting games, it's like figuring out your opponent and then like just destroying them. You know what I mean? Like, or especially someone who like beat your ass a month ago, and then you come back and like kick theirs. It's just like the greatest feeling.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Just figuring out your opponent is like one of the most fun parts about fighting game, which I never even knew existed until like MBC3 and MBC and Dragon Ball Fighters, to be honest, because I was just going through the motions, doing the same combos over and over again, doing the same type of movement, never really thinking, never really blocking overheads. Like, I didn't even know how to block high till like way later in life. It was kind of dumb.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I
Most
actually.
people, a lot of people don't know how to block an overhead still, man. Like, a lot of people don't know to block high.
Exactly.
Like,
Or
they just
even
block low. And it's like, how do I get hit? Dude, you're not blocking high.
Oh yeah, especially when they actually start learning how to block, you just press back, but then suddenly they realize you're still hurting me though, and then they say, "Oh, I have to learn how to block low also."
Yeah.
So there's all that
But
mechanics.
once they learn that, they're like, oh man, it's like a whole new world just opened to them. Like, it's like what I never knew. It's like, that's like just the beginning, man. There's so much more. Go ahead, keep going.
Oh, speaking of that instant overhead dash that you were talking about, the IAD, I actually got that from JM's Crofts. I didn't know about that instant overhead dash kind of moves things to do. So yeah, it is always something good about fighting game. Like, you just learn and learn. Is never just like a one size mechanic fits all. And one of the things you actually did bring up that I think all of my viewers have told about in their experience of fighting games is, when you lose, you start reflecting on yourself. Like, what can I do? It's not like, oh, this game is broken or this person just picks top tier. You start doing that self reflection.
Dude, the game is the game, and you know what? It's not going to change. So you either keep playing the game and try to figure out how to get around that stuff, or you just keep bitching about the same thing, which is going to do nothing for you. So
exactly. And I think that's and I'm not gonna like bash on the young generation of players, because there's actually been a influx of people playing fighting games, and I think that's a lot thanks to like Arc System for making fighting games accessible. But when fighting games were like Capcom only had their audience for the fighting game community, it was hard for casual players to play because they don't know a lot of these mechanics. So
the big influx that happened that I think for fighting games is Street Fighter 4 was probably the one that actually got a lot of people back into fighting games again. I feel like they were almost dying out. You didn't really hear about a fighting game for a while, at least not that I remember. Uh, but then Street Fighter 4 came out, and then did Marvel 3 come out after Street Fighter 4?
Yes, it did.
Because they're both right. So people got back into fighting games, and then Capcom started making fighting games again. But I think Street Fighter 4 was like responsible for everybody getting more people getting back into it, and then of course everything after that, just keeps bringing in more people. And of course, I feel Dragon Ball FighterZ brought a lot more people into the fighting scene because it was something that everybody loved. Even if you didn't, and even my wife played it. She doesn't play any fighting games, but she got into Dragon Ball Z and she wanted to play Vegeta. So one day I came home and I caught her playing it. She didn't get like crazy into it, but she played it. It got her to play a fighting game that otherwise she would never play. Sorry, I interrupted you.
And so yeah, speaking of that, following up on that, so how what would you like to say to viewers that have never played a fighting game and they want to experience a fighting game, but they don't want, or they feel like playing a fighting game is too complex? What advice do you have for them?
I mean, there are some fighting games that aren't as complex. I mean, there's a lot of auto combos now in fighting games, so it makes, I think, everything more easier to get into than it used to be. You can hit the same button over and over and over again, and it'll do a combo. It's kind of cool. I think that started with what, MVCI, I think, was one of the first ones that did that, right?
Yeah, or maybe I think even Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they had a simple mode, but I think that was just.
Oh, I never even touched that. I didn't even know it did that. Okay, cool.
I ignored that because it did annoy me when I was so new to Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and I knew someone had their simple mode on because they were just spamming a move. I'm like, how are they able to spam that move quickly?
Oh, no kidding. Dude, I never touched simple mode, not once. I've never. I didn't even know that did that. That's so bad. I always learn new things. But anyway, yeah, I feel nowadays fighting games are a little bit easier to get into, but Guilty Gear Strive is probably one of the best examples right now, not because of its combo system, but because the online lobbies won't let people bully you. The online lobby system is designed so that if you're good, you go higher, and they don't actually give you access to the people that are lower than you anymore unless you start losing. And I mean, if you care about fighting games, you're not just going to keep losing to get to these other people unless you're like a total asshole. So it's really designed well. So if you want to get into a fighting game and you want to play online against other people, I mean, I'm not going to say Strive is like the best fighting game I've ever played, but it's a fun fighting game with really cool mechanics if you decide to get a little bit better at it. And you're not going to get bullied. You can't. Like, I mean, unless it's someone who just got the game who's really good, that will happen for like a day. And then like you'll be right in your little squad of people that you want to play with. And I think that's a really smart thing to do that I think other fighting games should be doing. So if I were to say anybody to try a fighting game now, it would probably be Guilty Gear Strive, just because of the way that the system's designed and the music's really cool. The art style is really cool. Like, that's what kept me coming to Guilty Gear was the unique characters that they always put out. I mean, there's a freaking like badass samurai vampire in that game.
Yep.
I didn't like a tank. It's just a unique premise, but he can move fast. But there's repercussions to him moving fast, right? Like, he was really well designed, but cool music was always something that came me back to Guilty Gear 2. So yeah, if I were to say anything, it'd be Guilty Gear Strive, because you're gonna play it, you're gonna have fun with the game. There's all different character styles in there, all different fighting types, and you're not going to get bullied, which I think is the most important thing. Because I think that's what gets a lot of people out of fighting games is they get in and they try to play you and they don't have the motivation, to get really, really good. They just want to stay in their little thing, and that's fine. That's your right, and Guilty Gear kind of lets you do that.
Interesting. I never really thought about that. Like, they won't let you access the lower floors because your skills
you
skills
cannot bully
good.
somebody. You can't. Yeah.
Which I hope they could fix that with Dragon Ball FighterZ, because I still get matched up with people way lower than my rank. I'm like, I'm not trying to be a bully to you, but it's how the game was pairing me up. Even though I changed the settings to like only fight people close to my setting or close to my rank.
Yeah, listen, I love Dragon Ball Fighters. It's probably one of my favorite fighting games besides MVC3, but it's got problems. Like the net code sucks. It does. Like even if you play someone that's even in your state, sometimes it's still like 4 or 5 frames. And if you want to get good and you want your combos to work when we finally play people offline, that frame delay is really going to mess you up if you learn how to play in that frame delay. You want to learn to play in like 2 to 3 frames, and that's it. Like if it goes any higher than that, your combos are not going to do what they do if you have it in your muscle memory when you go offline. I promise you that. It happened in MVC3, which is why I never did it again. But the game is awesome, but the netcode, the way it's designed for the netcode and everything is a problem. And I feel that from going forward, everyone should take from whatever Arc Systems did because and you're right, their match system is terrible. Like I can't remember what my rank is. I know it's over Super Saiyan Blue or something like that, but the point is I get matched with people that are Angel, and like I set like the same or a little higher, and it matches me with an Angel, which is like the highest rank.
Zeno is the highest rank.
Zeno, okay. But still, dude, like there's like 3 or 4 ranks before that
Yeah,
you can match me up with. So no, I totally understand what you're saying. No, it's kind of broken. And the reason they want to do that is because they don't want you to have to wait forever to get a match. And I understand that, but at the same time, I don't want to get a match with someone who's like, well, me, I don't really care because I'll try to figure out why I lost if they like totally destroy me. But ranking systems are kind of nice again because they slowly bring your level up. You know what I mean? Just like in shooters and stuff like that, in Halo, you slowly got better at the game as you leveled up, it should be the same with fighting games, but right now the system's kind of broken. Except for Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, you could, if you want, and like you could try to put yourself up to the 10th floor, knowing that you'll probably lose. Every time I'm in the 10th floor, I go back down.
Yeah, see, and I like that it gives you the option to not stay on that floor. It's like if you want to play people better than you and learn how to get better, we got that too. Like they're kind of, I mean, that's what they wanted to do though. They wanted to try to bring in new players for sure and try to keep their old players too. And I think they've done a pretty good job of what people want. I mean, I definitely don't think everyone's going to be happy with the game. You got diehard players that as any type of new game comes out that's not their game, they get mad. That's just, how it is. But I just know that we live in a world where it's like that. Exactly. They can't bring out the same game. It's the same game. Why would you want to play the same game? You have the same game. It's right there. Play that game. This game is a little different, and it brought in more audience, and there's more people to play in that game right now.
Exactly. So speaking of playing against other people, I think you already brought it up earlier in our little chat. Have you have you been playing tournaments recently, or probably not now because of the whole pandemic, or unless you were playing some online? But have you had any tournament experiences, face to face, online, or?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I've gone to some tournaments. When I first got to California, actually, I went to. It's so funny because there's the NorCal regionals. And I actually went to the SoCal regionals in Irvine, and I live in NorCal. So, but yeah, I was like one of the first ones I went to was SoCal regionals, and then I went to. I don't go to a ton of tournaments, like I said. I went to some locals too. I went to NorCal regionals a couple of times, and I went to what's that one Smash Genesis. I went to Genesis and played. I'm not even sure. I think I just played Street Fighter, actually. Street Fighter 5. Yeah.
It was,
I think that was about it. Go ahead.
Oh, it was, I think, around Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when I heard something called Evo. I know Evo existed way before that, and I know there's that whole Evo comeback moment from Street Fighter Third Strike, but I never really knew about Evo until Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So I was always like trying to tell myself, oh, I want to be an Evo one day and like win, but I'm like looking at these players, I'm like, probably not gonna happen anytime soon.
I'm the same way, dude. I actually learned about Evo through MVC3 because I started watching like videos and stuff, and then I started hearing things from I can't remember what YouTuber. It might have been Maximilian, dude, because I've been into Maximilian dude for like a long time.
Oh yeah, that's exactly where I found Maximilian, because when Marvel's Capcom 3 came out, I guess Capcom hired Maximilian to do tutorials, so that was pretty interesting because I saw all of his like assist me videos.
So maybe that was it. It could have been that. I don't know for sure. I know that I've been watching Maximilian for like years and years. I actually, dude, cool story. I actually ran into Maximilian on Dragon Ball Fighters. I actually have if you ever check out my YouTube, which is pretty much the same thing, Mr. Awesome's base neighborhood instead of underscore. I have a video where we met, and I took the two videos from the two streams and put them together where they're side by side, and you could see his reaction and my reaction. I never talked to the guy. I just ran into him, and I saw that a bunch of people just all of a sudden show up on my stream and said, "Dude, that's Maximilian, dude." I'm like, "Holy shit, man, I love this guy." So we played like 3 or 4 matches, and I want to say I could have beat him pretty good, but I was playing a new team. I was playing Baby 2, so I wasn't nearly on my like best move. I beat him once, but if I had my Krillin team, man, I think I could have taken him a few more times.
Oh yeah, I think right after you fought him, I think I went to your stream and said, "Oh, you should have been here a couple hours ago. I was fighting against Maximilian." I was like, "Dang it!" And then that's when I was actually trying to get him to fight me. So I became like,
and he was
starstruck there.
It was pretty cool. But all a lot of his guys that were watching, they decided to come on my stream and check it out because they saw that my Twitch thing was on there. So they were rooting me on and stuff like that, and a bunch of them followed me and stuff like that. It was like really nice. So like Maximilian's crowd, like his viewers are super nice, man. And definitely, if you don't know who Maximilian guys is, check him out too. He's great, and he'll get you more into fighting games too because he gives you a lot of tutorials on how to do things and stuff like that. So.
His discussions are really good as well. I've like listened to some of his videos that talks about whatever, like the state of fighting games.
Yeah, he's very smart. Yeah, he's very smart and analytical and stuff. He's really good.
Okay, well, I would like to continue talking to you because our conversations could go on for hours and hours because we just have so much to talk about fighting games. But
I didn't think it was gonna go this long.
Right? You originally said, "I think this is gonna be the shortest interview you've had." I'm like, when you have something passionate, it's gonna keep going on forever. But I'd like to end this with this question. Do you have anything that you want to shout out to yourself or say anything to our viewers before we end the stream?
Nah, I mean, check out my stream. Like, there's a little bit of swearing in it. Sorry for that if you don't like that, but that's kind of it. But, I'm always trying to make the stream better. And if you guys have after you watch the stream, if you check it and you have suggestions, please let me know. Because, like, again, I try to put 100% of myself into everything I do. So if you have any suggestions to make it better, no problem there. But check out my stream, check out my YouTube. There's links in the Twitch too to like all my other stuff, Instagram and stuff if you want to check it out. But that's pretty much me, man. Guy who moved from New York to California, met his wife, and woke up one day and decided to stream fighting games, and then everybody came on and started watch.
Exactly. And anyways, whenever you do fight him and he has a lot of nice language to tell you, he'll always tell you good games in the end, so always stay till the end of his streams. Other than that, again, thank you, Mr. Awesomes. I might have you again next time when when something cool in fighting games happen. Maybe I'll say, hey, maybe I want to ask Mr. Awesome again because our conversations could go on forever. I feel like it could go on forever. And I think the next thing we'll probably talk about is your retro collection of fighting games, as we can see right there in the back. No, it's not retro, but I know it's from a retro game.
Oh yeah, the arcade machine. Yeah, I never thought I'd own an arcade machine in my life, but I got so many fighting games.
Okay, well, everyone, thank you for watching. This video will be on YouTube. Of course, I got to give it a 24-hour wait. Otherwise, that YouTube account of mine will get suspended if I just post it there right away. But Mr. Awesomes, I really thank you for being my guest, my 4th guest for this Ninja Talks Fighting podcast. And for everyone,
it's a pleasure, sir.
Oh, really honored for you to be in here. And hopefully I'll have you again, and then we could continue our part 2 of our lengthy discussion of fighting games, because if it's going to go on I feel like we couldn't go on forever and talk about it. Other than that, everyone, I actually, the thing I was supposed to do, my got canceled, so I'll probably go back on stream around 9 o'clock. And I know you're probably going to be streaming later on tonight, right?
Yeah, I usually stream on Tuesdays and Fridays around 10, sometimes in between, but usually Tuesday and Friday at 10. I wasn't sure if I was going to stream tonight, but I got my coffee. I mean, now I'm feeling like streaming. So, yeah, 10 o'clock.
Okay. Well, everyone, thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. And again, Mr. Awesomes, I'll see you in your streams for sure, and we'll have this another
Okay, dude.
conversation. Okay.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, man. This is different than I thought it was going to be. This is fun.
This is fun. Okay. Well, bye everyone. Ninja out.
Later, neighbors.